And welcome to Assessment Video Part 3, where our focus will be on summative evaluation. We'll look at the two parts separately and then move into some examples and also talk about technology tools that will be useful to you within a Canvas environment and that will play nicely with Canvas as well. So when we think about summative, the things to think about are that all the A's are aligned, the aims, the activities, the assessments aligned with the atmosphere, the place in which the learning is happening. That you're transparent when you set out the assignment descriptions. What are the tasks that students need to complete? What skills are you expecting them to use? Is there a process involved with this? Who will be in that process with them? Will you be giving feedback? Will they talk to external people? Will they be talking to peers? And who's the audience for the particular summative thing? This even applies to an exam. What are the tasks? To do some note-taking after quizzes and to create maybe a crib sheet after each quiz because you're doing cumulative and you want students to remember what they've learned on one quiz to another. What are the skills? The skills for an exam might be that they develop a capacity to identify and retrieve a correct answer, but also telling you through a bit of a sentence-level analysis or sentence-long analysis why an answer is right. That the process for your exams will include multiple choice, open response, short answer, and a case study. That's the process of the exam. And who's the audience? Is the audience you? Is the audience external reviewers for a board? Are they taking a test that gets them certification somewhere else, which might change the process, the skills, and the tasks that are required? And again, you want to ascertain the level to which the aims are to be achieved or are being achieved. So what level aim do you want? Do you want 90% accuracy in your summative, where in the process-oriented formative you are asking for 75% so that people could make mistakes, they'd take a risk, they'd try things out, they'd reflect on it, learn, and do better in the more summative. So the evaluation part is keeping in mind that in this alignment that students are performing the intended aims. So if you're asking them to analyze something, do your assessments, especially the summative ones that bear the heavy weight of the grade, final grade, do they ask them to do in the evaluation what the aim asks them to do? So if the aim says calculate and your evaluation is based on calculations, great. But if the aim says analyze and apply to novel situations and your evaluation is calculating, there's a mismatch there. Evaluation, also consider that important thing of multiple evaluation forms and formats. One big test at 3 different parts of the semester is not multiple evaluation forms or formats. And it disadvantages learners who need chunks along the way, who do their learning cumulatively, who might write an answer to a response instead of being able to just retrieve the information. And at the same time, it disadvantages those students who are really good at retrieving, who can pull information together. So there's a not even match there in terms of how the evaluation suits the students nor necessarily the aim. So have multiple evaluations, have people write, have them write informally in the formative. Maybe you do an exam for the final evaluation because you've learned some things about their thinking and the exam is a fast way to make sure they've retained it. And again, remember that part of the evaluation can be learners engaging in self and peer assessment roles. In self-assessment, students learn to learn. And if that is one of the development outcomes, that students learn to be adaptive to situations, that they learn to deal with ambiguous situations, that's something they should self-analyze, they should self-assess and report on it. You can't know that, but they can tell you something about it. Also, peer teaching within evaluation is an important way for other learners to pull information together. So what are some examples? We picked 2 to look at here. Cumulative exams can be a great summative evaluation because it gives people room to keep learning. Within a cumulative exam, there might be multiple choice questions, and they might explain, say, 3 answers to 3 of the 10 questions and do it for an audience outside of the class. It ups the level of thinking, probably aligns it with your aims in a different way, being able to apply things outside of the classroom. You could ask them to develop a crib sheet while they're studying. The research shows that rewriting, re-summarizing, putting things together in new ways helps people to prepare for a test. They can get credit for the crib sheet, and you have one crib sheet that they can use, which means you're not watching for cheating in particular ways. And from the pictures I've seen, there are many new ways to cheat. In a cumulative exam, you can also ask them to apply the materials to a future-looking question. Maybe they've been studying a particular problem set, and you go up one level when you come to the exam in order to reevaluate. Maybe an exam asks people to debug something like a program or to take apart an argument, but also to write a narrative, a short narrative, to the originator of the program or to the original writer of the essay or the article. It gives two formats in there. One is to be able to do the work of debugging something, the analysis, but also to communicate that to a particular audience. Again, with summative evaluation, an example with semester-long projects is to remember that peer and self-assessment can be a key component of that, because that gets that formative, immediate feedback, but it also formalizes that students need to use that feedback. I frequently ask my students in a summative evaluation at the end of the project to speak to the peer feedback and what they've adopted outright, taken it on, what they've adapted, how they've adapted it, and what they've axed, A-X-E-D, what they've not used and said, nuh-uh, I'm not doing this. Because it means they're looking at things and they're analyzing the work, and I can see the decisions that they made. Another summative evaluation would be the portfolio with self-assessment. This can work in a studio class. This can work in a science class, a portfolio of lab experiments with self-assessment along the way, asking students to grade themselves, perhaps with the rubric that you've been using. The most important thing about summative assessment in our little summation sentence here would be summative evaluation should still acknowledge growth and demonstrate learning mastery. So you want people to be able to say how they've gotten to this point they're at and show you how they meet the aim. Again, there are some great tools that you can use within Canvas. The assignments themselves have room to add rubrics. You can use group assignments at each step along the way. The teaching response setup within SpeedGrader is pretty wonderful for being able to comment and provide answers and quick accounting and quick feedback. Externally, using Google Drive as a registered service lets students upload projects to share portfolios with you easily. If you want to think about how long an assignment should work, for a range of assignments, the University Libraries provides an online assignment calculator that can help you and students learn how to spread out the process meaningfully and give some resources. You can also use Flipgrid for team assessment. It's a really fast way for a small group of people to answer some questions where they, as the group, the team, only hear the responses and the teacher can give feedback. Within Flipgrid, when individual students write or speak their responses, the teacher can also write feedback to individual students as well as speaking feedback to the entire group. So we want to leave you with this little summative session with this frequently circulating comic that a fair selection for everybody means they have to all climb the same tree. Attributed in some ways to Albert Einstein. We have the full quote in the notes. But the thing we'd ask you to remember is that assessment, whether it's formative or summative, is authentic, it's accessible to a wide range of learners, and that it measures the essential components of your course.